Hello everyone, thank you for coming to our seminar on, it's been billed as Best New Restaurants. We're going to talk about some old restaurants as well and just restaurants in general really, just to familiarise you all with what's going on the restaurant scene at the moment. My name is Ben McCormack, I'm the editor of Squaremeal.
My name's Sarah and I'm Head of Restaurant Partnerships here at Squaremeal. So today we're going to take you through Best New Restaurants in London, restaurants coming soon to London. I'm going to tell you how we can make your life a bit easier with booking restaurants and finding out about useful tips on Squaremeal website, and then we'll take you through a London area guide too. So over to Ben.
You'll find one of these mini Squaremeal restaurant guides on your chair. So all the restaurants that we'll be talking about today, you'll find in here at some point. So you don't need to take any notes. All the names and addresses are in here, and of course you'll find thousands more restaurants on our website, and also many more lists of best restaurants, whether you're after best French, best British, what have you, it's all on there. So I'm going to quickly whiz through the 10 best restaurants, what I think the 10 best restaurants that have opened in the past year. There are actually 20 in here, but we don't have time for all of those. And these are in no particular, well, they're in alphabetical order, so this isn't a ranking of 1 to 10, they're just my favourite 10. So first of all, there's a restaurant called Anglo, which is in Clerkenwell. It's a really interesting one-off project from a chef called Mark Jarvis, who used to be down at the Peachtree Hotel in Richmond. It's very much a labour of love for him. It's tiny, it's intricate tasting menus, 5 or 7 courses. The chefs come out of the kitchen to serve you. It's a really charming, very personal and very high-end kind of gastronomic type restaurant, and we think that this is really one to watch and a chef team to watch very closely over the next few years. We expect great things from this team at Anglo. The Barbary is in Covent Garden. This is the second restaurant from the team behind the Palomar in Soho. As you can see, and you'll see from many of these pictures in fact, how much counter eating, sitting on stools has really taken over the restaurant scene. Here it's North African, Middle Eastern food, lots of tapas type dishes to share with quite a strong Metse accent. It's not very big, I wouldn't really go in a group of more than 2. But it is cosy and very atmospheric and really terrific food. If you haven't been to the Palomar either in Soho, that's a real favourite of mine. Counterculture is down in Clapham. Even if you don't live in South London, this is well worth crossing town for. It's from Chef Robin Gill, who you can see in that photo, who has 2 or 3 restaurants already, the Manor, the Dairy in Clapham, Paradise Garage over in East London. This was the former deli of the Dairy, I think, and they've converted it into a really tiny tapas restaurant. Again, 8 or 7 small plates. You pretty much order the entire menu. What's really brilliant about Counterculture though, as well as the food, which is knockout, is it's a BYO restaurant, so take a couple of bottles of your own wine and the bill won't be any more than £40, so definitely worth going to Clapham for that. Another tapas restaurant, Duende in Covent Garden. This is a really great place if you want to show off your kind of restaurant and food know-how. If you've got someone who kind of thinks they've seen all the latest restaurants, I found people haven't really heard of this. It's a terrific tapas restaurant, modern Spanish tapas, really great Spanish wine list, again very small, cosy, and you can really show off with how much you know about the restaurant scene by going here. Also in Covent Garden is Frenchy. This is a newish restaurant. It opened earlier in the year from a chef called Gregory Marchand, who got his nickname of Frenchy from when he worked at Jamie Oliver's 15 restaurant. Very accomplished modern food, small plates at lunchtime, slightly larger plates in the evening. Again, terrific wine list. It's set over 2 floors. Personally, I'm not a big fan of eating in basements, so when you book, if you could try and reserve the ground floor, which I think is much nicer, but whether you're on the ground floor or in the basement, you'll have a really high-end, memorable meal here. And this is within, I'd say, the top 5 restaurants to have opened this year.
The bacon scones are amazing.
There you go, top tip.
Yeah.
Just order scone after scone.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can do this.
There we go.
Yep, some more new restaurants. Hoppers was our best new restaurant in our spring magazine, our BMW award for the best new restaurant of the previous 6 months. This is in Soho. It's a much more casual offshoot from the team behind Gymkhana restaurant, which we'll be talking about a little later. It's no bookings, as again so many of these new restaurants are. They handle it really well here though. When you turn up, they take your mobile phone number, so you can go off, have a drink, which in Soho isn't really any kind of hardship, and then you get a text saying your table's ready. Really delicious, unusual small plates of Sri Lankan food, which is something most people in London haven't really been exposed to. Again, really unusual, vibrant, interesting flavours that you probably won't have had before. And again, a very small bill, which is also what you'll find at Padella. This is a new pasta restaurant near Borough Market. Really great value here. Around £7 or £8 for a bowl of pasta. Get there early. The queues that form here are pretty long later on in the evening, but once you taste the food you can see why. I hate queuing, but I'd queue up for the pasta at Padella. It's not all no bookings casual restaurants though. There's still very much a place for grand special occasion, below the budget restaurants in London. And one of the ones that fits that category that has impressed us the most at Squaremeal in the last year is Park Chinois in Mayfair. This is the latest restaurant from Alan Yao, who's really one of the visionaries on the London restaurant scene. He founded Wagamama, he founded Bazaar Burrito, Hakkasan, Yoacha. So many of the modern Oriental restaurants that have really made their mark in London are due to his vision. This is his latest. It's a very grand recreation of sort of 1930s Shanghai. Fascinating Chinese food, very high-end wine list, high-end cocktails, but really, really glamorous, and a venue that's sure to impress whoever you take there, whether that's for business, romance. Again, this is somewhere that ticks every occasion. Staying with the Asian theme, these last two restaurants are Somsar. This is in Spitalfields, not too far from here. It's a Thai restaurant from a chef called Andy Oliver, who made his name on MasterChef. Thai food traditionally hasn't been done traditionally well in London. We think of it as cheap noodle restaurants, maybe something you get in a pub. This is really changing attitudes, I think, to Thai food in London. It's very vibrant, unusual Thai flavours, quite a lot from the northeast of the country. Very spicy, but a really eye-opening experience on the food front. There's also a great bar at the front serving kind of Thai-flavoured cocktails. And lastly, in our very quick roundup of the 10 best new restaurants from 2016 is Sasharu. This is Chef Jason Atherton's restaurant in Clerkenwell. Jason Atherton is really, I think, probably the most exciting chef in London right now. He's sort of where Heston and Gordon Ramsay were maybe 10 years ago. He's really setting the agenda for how we eat here. This is a modern Japanese restaurant. He's got very successful restaurants in Asia already. This is his first Asian restaurant in London. And if you like Nobu, Zuma, those sorts of modern Japanese restaurants, this will really tick all of those boxes for you. There's also a very high-end kind of chef's table experience called Kisetsu at Sasharu, which if you want an even more at-market experience and a very bespoke evening of very high-end Japanese food, then you can get that at Sasharu's restaurant Kisetsu. As ever, the London restaurant scene never stands still. Here are some of the most exciting restaurants to look forward to over the next 6 months. They're roughly in chronological order. Hopefully these restaurants on this page will open this year, and on the following page next year. First up is Elliston Street from Chef Phil Howard, who won 2 Michelin stars at the Square restaurant in Mayfair, which he recently sold. He's a chef we've always championed throughout the last 30 years or so of Squaremeal. Really one of our best homegrown talents. Manages to strike a really good balance between high-end gastronomic food, but also food that's really, really enjoyable to eat. Elliston Street's in Chelsea. It's the former Tom Aiken's restaurant site. And if you liked the Square, then hopefully this will be along very similar lines, and that should open this month, hopefully. Opening in various stages this autumn are the restaurants in St James's Market. This is a huge new development from the Crown Estate between Lower Regent Street and Haymarket. It's going to have, I think, 7 or 8 restaurants going in there. Most exciting of all is a restaurant called Aquavits, which is a 2 Michelin star Scandinavian restaurant in New York. They're opening in London. It's going to be a bit more casual than a New York restaurant. It's going to be more brasserie in style and kind of influenced by those Nordic restaurants like Noma and Faviken that always are popping up on the world's 50 best restaurant lists. That should open maybe October, November. The restaurant that's going to open first is called Veneta from the Salt Yard Group, who have Salt Yard Restaurant, MBRs, the Opera Tavern Tapas restaurant in Covent Garden. Veneta, their St James's Market restaurant, is going to be Venetian inspired. This being St James's, it's going to be a little more at market than their other restaurants in Soho. We'll have some great Italian wines that the owners have been cellaring for the last 10 years and a real emphasis on fresh fish and seafood. And the other one, most notable restaurant in St James's Market, is called Anzu. This is from the team behind the tonkotsu noodle bar chain. Anzu is going to be a bit more at market than those. You'll be able to get wagyu beef, you'll be able to get oysters, so not as high-end as somewhere like Nobu, but a good mid-range Japanese restaurant. So watch out for all the St James's Market openings over the autumn. Towards the end of the year, we hope that Nobu's first London hotel opens. This will be in Willow Street in Shoreditch. As well as the hotel, there'll be a branch of Nobu in the basement, which will hopefully remind us all why we got so excited about Nobu when it came to London in the late 90s and re-established itself as the go-to modern Japanese in London. Viajante is, some of you may remember, from 2 or 3 years ago, Nuno Mendes' restaurant in East London. He's now the chef at Chiltern Firehouse, but Viajante is where he made his name, and he has a crowd sourcing campaign to reopen the restaurant in the East End of London. Looking forward to next year, we have in the top left, I never know how to pronounce this, whether it's Mia, Mare, but however one pronounces it, it's the first solo restaurant from chef Monica Galetti, who was for many years Michel Bou Jr.'s right-hand woman at Le Gavroche, who's also obviously from MasterChef 2. Don't have too many details yet, but this is one of those talents who's been rather in the background for most of her career and is now really coming to the forefront, and that will be a very exciting new opening. Martha Ortiz is one of the biggest chefs in Mexico City, and she's bringing her high-end modern Mexican food to the Intercontinental Hotel at Hyde Park Corner, where already, of course, one of my favourite Italian restaurants, Theo Randall, is at the hotel already, and he's going to be joined by Martha Ortiz at the beginning of next year. Sushi Samba, one of the biggest openings of the last few years, one of the most high-impact restaurants in London, from its high-rise in the Heron Tower in the city, is opening in Covent Garden, not at quite a high altitude. It's taking over the old, what was Chez Gerard and then Brasserie Blanc site in the Covent Garden Market on the Opera Terrace, so there'll be a bit of a view, but not quite as impressive in the city, but the food, I'm sure, will be every bit as impressive. And then last up is Claire Smith, who obviously is on the left, not the right of that photo, or my left rather. There she is with Gordon Ramsay. She was for many years the head chef at Ramsay's Royal Hospital Road flagship restaurant. She's maintained his 3 Michelin stars there. So when her new restaurant opens next year, that will, if you loved the kind of food that Gordon Ramsay, restaurant Gordon Ramsay is producing, then there's much to be excited about with her new restaurant. That's it for new restaurants and coming soon. So I'll hand over to Sarah, who's going to give you a guide to how to work our website.
So now you've got all this amazing information about what's opening and what is already open, I just thought I'd give you a quick run through on how to find it on the website, some new features that we've got on the website, and just a general quick run through of what's how it all works. Working? Yes, fab. So this is our search page, our main homepage. We've got our restaurants and bars side here, venues and events show there. When you're searching, type in the first few letters. It comes down with immediately what you should be looking for, venues, news or restaurants. Once you click on that, if it's working correctly, there we go.
It's faster in real life.
It takes you to the restaurant page. It shows that we've awarded stars. It gives you the website, images, menus, opening times. It gives you what we've awarded it. So it's in our Hot 100 restaurants. It's our best in Mayfair list. You can also look at diner reviews, and you can also book online. We've got another feature on the website called Advanced Search. So perhaps you just want to find something in a particular area. Perhaps you want to look at a price budget, a cuisine type, a station or tube, a landmark, etc. It's all available on the website. You can also search for private dining rooms, al fresco dining areas. So this will bring up everything that you search for in that area, for example, SW1. And this just shows you again what we've ordered: stars, images, the price, the cuisine, the tube station, and whether it's got private dining rooms or not. So our restaurants and bars homepage is really the hub of all of the restaurant information that we publish. So we have our news features, so where to eat this autumn, what's on trend for Fashion Week, our competitions, offers, our lists, and our what's on page. So anything that's happening in London restaurant-wise will feature on the website. One of the main things that I wanted to show you was our hot lists. So these are really big roundups that we've made, or Ben's team have decided are notable for being on the website. So for example, if we scroll down, we've got hottest new restaurants, Squaremeal 4 stars, latest openings, best new restaurants, group dining, celeb spotting, child friendly, dog friendly, gourmet lunches, wheelchair friendly, pretty much anything, any category that you need to search on, we've rounded it up for you, so you don't have to. We've also got best in London, so best areas, and also best out of London as well: Brighton, Edinburgh, Birmingham, Glasgow, Manchester, Cardiff, etc, etc. So clicking on Covent Garden, you'll see here we've got all restaurants in Covent Garden, and then we've got our best list. So this is our editorial roundup of what we think is the best. Once you've seen one of these restaurants, for example Balthazar, you can actually add it to a list. So if you're looking after a few people, let's say you book restaurants on behalf of 4 or 5 different people, it can be quite confusing to work out who likes what restaurant, who doesn't, or perhaps you just want your own list of what's good in Covent Garden, etc. You can create your own list and save this restaurant to that list. You can have as many different lists as you want. Once you've got your list, you can email it to a friend. So perhaps you want to email it to your boss and say, this is a selection that I picked out for you. You can share it to Twitter, Facebook, if you just want to do a recommendation to other people. And you can keep going back to these lists. You can have, as I said, as many as you want, and they all get saved in your account. I've talked so fast I don't quite know where the video is, but okay. So as you scroll through, you can just see here the add to my list button. That'll be on every single restaurant. And it'll just go down and say if you want to add it to your existing list, or you obviously want to create a new list. Is it working still? Fab. The last way that you can do it is if you're already on a restaurant page. So you've decided that you want to go to this restaurant, you click into the restaurant page, and then once the restaurant page loads up, there's an area there where you can save it to your list as well. Is just here. Hopefully you should all be familiar with how it works, but if you've got any questions, just let me know at the end. It's definitely faster in real life. And then finally, to get back to these lists again, you just click on your name at the top, definitely not Stuart, click on My Lists, and then that will bring up all of the lists that you've got, and I said you can email it, edit it, delete it, share it, etc. And this has all your restaurants here. And that's it. So I will hand back to Ben to talk you through London Area Guide.
So obviously I've been talking about new restaurants, and that I think is where much of the interest lies with on the restaurant scene. Always being asked what's new, what's coming up, where have you been recently that's new that you've really enjoyed. But I think within all of that, one thing that we feel at Squaremeal is that there are so many great restaurants that aren't new that maybe people forget about, and perhaps they fall off your radar. So we're just going to have a quick look through the main central London areas just to talk about our favourite restaurants within those. So as we're in the city, let's start with the city. 3 fairly business-friendly, corporate-friendly restaurants. Coq d'Argent's been going since the late 90s, ever since I started writing about restaurants, and whether you want the formality of the main dining room, the less formal grill. While we've still got some nice weather, it is one of the best al fresco venues in London. Lovely gardens for drinks, and you can also sit outside there. Coq d'Argent is always going to tick boxes for blue chip business. Sushi Samba, we've talked about a little already, but when you really want to go out and impress, who couldn't be impressed by dining 32 floors up in the air? Again, in summer, it's magical with huge outside terraces with an amazing city skyline, and all the food really lives up to the setting as well at Sushi Samba. Modern Japanese with some South American influences really hits the spot. And then Galvin La Chapelle, you may or may not be aware of. It's an offshoot of the Galvin brothers' Galvin Bistro in Baker Street. Every year we do various Squaremeal surveys. Our biggest survey is the London Restaurant Survey, which we feed into our restaurant guide. And Galvin La Chapelle, year after year, just gets the most phenomenal comments from readers. People who come here, they all love it. So if you want a restaurant experience that isn't going to disappoint, it's going to make everyone who goes there happy, then do try Galvin La Chapelle. It's also a really beautiful building. You've got maybe visitors from overseas who want a bit of history in their dining setting, then head to Galvin La Chapelle. Over in Mayfair, inevitably one of the most expensive areas of London. It's the most expensive spot on the Monopoly board, and that's reflected in its restaurants. But if you want high-end dining, formality, fashionability, you'll find it in this quadrant. Scott's, I think, whatever the occasion, makes people happy. You can have quite refined cooking here. You can have very simple cooking here as part of Caprice Holdings, who are behind the Ivy, J Sheiky's, those restaurants. Still 10 years since it reopened, it remains one of London's most glamorous spots. Gymkhana, I think, is one of the best Indian restaurants in London. It's from three siblings in their 20s and 30s. They really know how people want to eat Indian food at the moment. It combines kind of your favourite approachable type of Indian food with a really lovely atmospheric setting. I know a lot of people say they don't particularly like market Indian food. Gymkhana really fits the bill for when you want something that is reasonably high-end but also very approachable.
And they've got two, you can have either experience. Gymkhana do a really, really good set value lunch, so if you just want to pop in with a friend for a cheap lunch, you can, or you can also go all out Mayfair for the tasting menu.
And Pollen Street Social, we mentioned Jason Atherton earlier with Sasharu. This is still his flagship restaurant. You'll see him there quite often for high-end modern European cooking with a fantastic atmosphere. It doesn't really get any better than Pollen Street Social. It's the kind of restaurant that most people can go to again and again and again and have a equally wonderful but different experience each time. Covent Garden's a really interesting area at the moment. We saw with Duende earlier and also Frenchy. There were so many new openings here. It is unfortunately still a fairly touristy part of London, but it's also very, very convenient and handy for many places. So we've picked three places here where you will avoid the tourists. Spring is from one of my favourite chefs, Guy Gingles. This opened about 2 years ago now, I think. Very fresh, really, really ultra-seasonal ingredients in the very grand setting of Somerset House. So it's an unusual spot for food that's actually pretty simple. And if you want a kind of reminder of how ingredients are supposed to taste, Guy Gingle really teases out their flavours to stunning effects. The Delaunay is the Covent Garden restaurant from Corbin and King, who are most famous for the Wolseley. This is a brilliant spot all day, from where breakfast, morning coffee, light lunches, afternoon tea, pre and post theatre. This restaurant is suitable for any time of day. And glamorous kind of 1930s old school setting. And then over more towards the kind of Soho and L'Atelier de Joel Robuchon. There aren't many particularly, if you like, gastronomic restaurants in Covent Garden. There are lots of places doing simple food very, very well. But for a really kind of high-end Michelin-style experience, L'Atelier de Joel Robuchon is a brilliant reminder of why London has become such a magnet for chefs from all over the world. And Lastly, Soho. A lot of people are saying how the character's being knocked out of Soho with overdevelopment, but it's still a really thrilling place to go, I think, particularly for drinking, particularly for eating, and it really reminds me of how wonderful and vibrant a city London is. Here are 3 quite different restaurants. Social Eating House is another restaurant from Jason Atherton. This one in Soho. Because of the setting, it's a bit more casual than Pond Street Social is. But if you want to be in Soho, but you still want a kind of bells and whistles dining experience, then Social Eating House would fit the bill for that. Chinatown, of course, is on the borders of Soho, but I can't really think of any restaurants anymore I'd recommend in Chinatown. Yoacha, Michelin-starred dim sum restaurant, however, is an excellent location for not particularly high-end, but just delicious, creative dim sum. It's lively, it's noisy, but that Michelin star really guarantees the quality. And lastly, Bocca di Lupo, another of our restaurants that gets phenomenal reader comments when it comes to the annual survey for the restaurant guide. People just love this place. They love sitting at the bar, if there may be just 2 of them. They love being in the back room for larger tables. And Chef Jacob Kennedy, a British chef but with Italian family, has got such an interesting take on Italian food. Bocca di Lupo is a real favourite of ours at Squaremeal. That's it. I hope we haven't bamboozled you with too much information. We've covered a lot of ground in the last half hour, but that is just a reflection of how exciting London restaurants are at the moment and how much there is to say about them. If you've got any questions, we're here now. We're here all day. And please, we hope you enjoy these. But don't just rely on this. Have a look at the website as much as you can as well. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.